Hey, fierce feminines. And for those of you listening on YouTube, welcome to the channel because I know you are most likely new here. For those listening on Apple and Spotify, yes, you did hear me correctly. I just mentioned YouTube, which means there are now visual versions of the Fierce Feminine Rising, which I'm going to start uploading on YouTube as of the 20th of December. My original plan was to wait till the new year, but I'm like, I always tell people I'm not a fan of resolutions, and why do you have to wait to set an objective and achieve an objective? And then I was doing the same thing when really I was just making up excuses, to be honest, which I always say to my clients, you're just making up excuses. But before we get into it, as always, on the oil burner, my oil burner is actually moved. I mean, you wouldn't know because you never had visuals before, but I do still have oil burning and it's tea tree and lavender as always. And this room just smells so good. For my emotional check-in, how am I feeling? I have to say I'm feeling tense because this is different, because this is happening as a visual. I am like, ooh, I'm trying not to look at my image, which is really challenging considering I'm recording this via Zoom and all I can see is my face. I'm so tempted to look down. I'm trying not to look down. So in terms of my emotions, I am feeling nervous but excited because this is the first time I'm doing this. Definitely the first time I'm doing it by myself, because that's another surprise I have for you guys actually. In the season 2, which will happen in 2024, I am inviting lots and lots of guests. So I have already recorded a couple of visual episodes, but they were with other people. This is the first time I'm doing it solo. Without further ado, though, guys, I realize I'm already making this intro super long. What we are talking about today, as you can see from the title, is manifestations. And I'm just going to remind myself of the title. So it is 5 reasons why your manifestations aren't working. Before we get into it, I do want to just say that if you're someone who doesn't believe in manifestation, that's perfectly fine. I get it. But if you are someone who does, then you likely have a similar history to myself, where when I first heard about the book, The Secret, which I talk about on my Instagram, by the way, I do like a book recommendation. I was like, you're telling me I can create my own life. Like, that was never a possibility for me. Growing up in a Christian Nigerian home, which was very religious and also very superstitious, there was a lot of belief that life just happens to you and you just take what you're given and give thanks when things go right. And when things don't go right, then also just pray that things get better. So stumbling on a book like The Secret and finding out that there's this thing called the law of attraction and like you could just manifest whatever you want. I got so excited, but I imagine if you guys have also been on that journey of figuring out positive psychology or positive affirmations, you may have tried manifestation, and I feel like your experience would be similar to mine, where sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And it's like it's very hit and miss at the moment. Like or maybe it didn't even work for you. There are probably people who they're like, I've tried this whole manifestation thing, but it just didn't work. Well, today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why your manifestations aren't working for you. So, reason number 1, I found in my personal life, I found that when I tried to focus on too much, the manifestations wouldn't work for me. What I mean by that is you're like, I want a new car, I want a new job, I want X amount in my salary, whatever. Like, if you are trying to manifest too much too quickly, I find then manifestations are going to be more challenging for you, because the thing is, we're going to get into it. A lot of it is to do with your belief system. If you've read any books about law of attraction, you will know that a lot of the emphasis talks about like, you just have to believe, you just have to believe. And the thing about wanting to manifest too much too quickly is, I say this all the time, we are humans. We have thinking brains. Like a lot of the times we are stuck up there in our head. And if you are new to creating your own reality, and yes, you found out this really amazing information that tells you, all you have to do is just ask for what you want, you're going to get it. It's going to be, or at least in my scenario, in my situation, I found that I was struggling with my belief system, because remember, I was like, I was of the understanding that life just happens to you. I've now found this new theory that tells me I ask for what I want, I believe it, and it happens. And I'm sitting there thinking, I want to believe it, I want to believe it, I want to believe it. Make it so, make it so, make it so. Bring the car, bring the house, bring the everything. But my subconscious is like, girl, do you really believe this nonsense? So I found in my experience, to make my manifestations more powerful and to make it work for me, I found it better and easier when I focus on just one aspect of my life. It's like, fix one issue at a time, girl. So I started to learn that, okay, so for now, my emphasis would be on my career, right? Whatever the job is I wanted to have, whatever the salaries I wanted to have. And fun fact, my sister knows this, my bestie sister, but I've manifested so many of the salaries I've received, so many of the jobs I've received. I definitely believe I brought that into my existence. So manifestation can work, but I would say if you're just starting out, then take it one step at a time and try and focus on just one area of your life first before you start to build it in. So if it's romantic relationships, try and prioritize. If it's romantic relationships, then focus on that before then you then pull it into your careers, before then you pull it into personal development. And you will find that it would work better for you and easier for you. And this actually takes into the second point where, for me, the other reason my manifestations weren't working or weren't working as powerfully as they should, you would also know if you've read a book like The Secret, or if you've read any book to do with law of attraction, there's a lot of emphasis on visualization. And I actually used to say I'm a very, very visual person, but I know even growing up, I used to be like in La La Land half of the time. And everyone, mainly my parents, would be like, oh my God, you're daydreaming again. Like, what is she thinking about again? Like, I was always lost in thought. And half the time, I mean, it was a form of escapism, like trying to escape my reality. But I would be dreaming about myself in other situations, which it can be beneficial, but it depends how you use it, right? You don't want to just be lost in La La Land and not put any action to it, because then not affirmations, your manifestations won't work. So the second reason your manifestations aren't working is likely you're not really tapping into visualization. One way I found really helpful for me, I know lots of people talk about like vision boards, but I'm like, guys, we're in 2023. Like, I mean, if you've got a vision board, that's good. But I'm like, I'm not about to print out all these, like, cut out all these magazines. I'm like, when's the last time I even saw a magazine, let alone trying to cut out magazines of what I want? But I know, even my sister, I know she actually has like words, like lots of affirmations pasted around her flat. But what I'm trying to say is that I know a lot of people suggest like having vision boards. I've not been a fan of vision boards. I struggle to keep up with vision boards, but I find that my imagination alone is good enough. Now I've started to strengthen my visualization. What has really helped strengthen my visualization and really helps me with manifesting what I want is meditation. You guys will know, for those of you joining me on YouTube, you may not know this, but people who have been listening to the audios, you will know I've mentioned quite a few times that I meditate every day without fail. Like, it's got to the point now that if I'm not meditating every morning, I feel like out of sync. So I always ensure I meditate. But I'm finding that meditating has been a really great way to improve my visualization and how much clearer I can see whatever it is I'm aiming for. So if you haven't been visualizing, or if you've been struggling with with visualization, then that could possibly be why your manifestations haven't been working the way you wanted to. So improve your visualization, and you will find that you're manifesting things much quicker. And speaking of visualization, I did mention this, where it's one thing thinking about what you're going to do. And I think this is what differentiates people between being that person in just la la land and just like daydreaming every day, but not actually doing anything about it, and doing something about it. So that leads to point number 3. Why your manifestations aren't working is because, guess what? You are thinking about it, but you're not putting it into action. And I know, like, some people might already be like, all right, like, I'm pretty sure even the book, The Secret, and other books that talk about law of attraction, they kind of say, think about what it is you want and just let it go. And I was doing this at the start of my manifestation journey. I'm like, okay, so like I've thought about it, and like they've told me to like think about it and like just let it go. I'm like, okay, I've let it go. But I'm like, so what do I do now? Like, if you told me to let it go, like, so I'm just not supposed to be thinking about it, right? But I'm thinking about it and I can't stop thinking about it. But now I'm starting to understand, at least in my experience, I feel like what was stopping me at the time and what was slowing down my manifestations is, number one, that resistance I was creating by trying to force myself to let it go. But number two, I now understand when they talk about letting it go, they don't mean like let it go and don't take action. They mean let it go in terms of letting the worry go and stop worrying about it. But yes, you can still think about it, because guess what? Or at least in my experience, I found that I do have to think about whatever it is I'm manifesting, because then what you want to carry on with that manifestation and with the visualization is your actions. I'm finding that what was stopping my manifestations work in the past and what was stopping them being so powerful is that my action was not backing my thoughts, right? It's that whole like, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? So I was thinking about it, but I wasn't, my daily actions were not consistent to what I was saying, right? So if it's like, I don't know, if it's a new job I'm trying to manifest, yes, you've put it in your thought. And I don't know, maybe some people just think about it and not do anything and it just happens. But for me personally, I'm finding if I'm manifesting my dream job, best believe I'm applying for those jobs as well. But even when you're taking action, so you definitely want to take action for your manifestation to work. If you're not taking action, then will work eventually, possibly, because remember I said at the start, like manifestation was hit and miss for me, and I was like, why is it so hit and miss? And I understand there was like missing pieces, and for me, I find it's very important to take action. So yes, let go in the sense of let go of the stress and let go of the worry. Again, we'll stick to like the dream job example. So let's say you've set out, you've said, okay, my manifestation is to be the next chief people officer at this company, right? So you've put it out there, you've visualized it, you're like, it's happening, I know it's happening, I can feel it, the universe is bringing it to me. And then actually what I found, I mean, maybe just because I'm more of a proactive person, I find that it helps to actually then start applying for that job, or maybe start making friends, start building networks with people for that job, but let go of the worry of how is it going to happen, but still take active action. Because I find that taking active action, even if that's not how it's going to manifest, right? Because the secret and everything I read about manifestation says like, it's not your job to worry about the how, but I definitely believe that to make things manifest more quickly, you want the universe to see you taking actions towards it. But let go of the how, right? So you can, yes, you said you want to be chief people officer in this certain company. Yes, you can put forward your application, but let go of the worry, like, oh my God, like what are they going to think about my CV? Are they going to accept my application? Like, let go of that and just put it out there. And also let go of the emphasis, like, because I've applied, this is how I'm going to get the job. So I don't know if that's the best example to give, but watch when you start taking positive actions towards whatever it is you're manifesting, and see how quickly doors start to open up. More, not even doors, I would say more like windows, like unexpected windows start to open up, as long as you're taking positive action, and you've let go of worry, and you've thought to yourself, okay, I'm taking action, but I'm very aware that the universe may present this to me in a completely different way. You're going to notice there's a difference in your manifestations. And I'm just going to pull up my notes because number one, I've forgotten the next point I wrote down. It's going to be fun now. I'm doing like videos as well as audio. I feel like I could get away with this more easily when I did audio, but now if it actually feels a bit daunting being on YouTube, I'll be completely honest. Like, YouTube is a completely different ballgame to audio podcasts, in my opinion. But while I'm like while I'm trying to talk and distract you guys from me checking my notes, I am going to take this moment to talk about therapy. You guys know, people who have been listening on Spotify and Apple, I talk about therapy always. I do have an affiliate link. If you are interested in aromatherapy, or you're curious to how aromatherapy can support your well-being, number one, listen to the last episode. That does not have a video version, but listen to the last episode, because I brought on the owner of Terami, which, fun fact, that is my partner. I brought her on and we spoke about aromatherapy supporting your well-being. So listen to that episode, because it has a lot of useful information. But also click the link in the description and you can check it out. And also, it's not too late. It's the 20th today at the time you're listening, the 20th of December. You can still gift your loved ones essential oil sets. I think that's a very good gift to give people. They're like very good stocking fillers as well. But also, if you're someone who's always wanted to try aromatherapy, then it's worth knowing that these oils, I'm looking over there, it's because I can see the oils over there. It's worth knowing that these oils are 100% organic and they are therapeutic grade, which means they're very good quality. So what a place to start if you're wanting to test out aromatherapy and see if it works for you. But now I'm going to do what I was trying to do, which is I was trying to avoid doing without you guys seeing I was doing it. But I just need to remind myself the last two reasons why your manifestations haven't been working. So yes, I remember. So the reason number 4, so we've given you 3 reasons why your manifestations, aren't working. But reason number 4 is understanding that when you think about manifestation, that's why I said affirmations. A lot of times when it comes to manifesting, there's a lot of resource out there that encourages you to use affirmations. And I feel like, yes, affirmations do have their place. I do guided meditations that do have affirmations. But in my experience, I noticed that I was stopping my manifestations happening by not believing the affirmation I was saying. So for me, why the manifestations was not working for me is that I didn't truly understand the purpose of the affirmation behind whatever it is I was manifesting. So again, if it's money, I don't want to repeat the same example, but let's change the example to, if it's money, for example, you're manifesting. There's lots of guided meditations out there on the internet where you literally just like repeat an affirmation over and over again. I'm attracting money. I'm a money magnet. And I would do these guided meditations and I'm like, yeah, I'm like a money magnet. And I'm like, where's the money though? And it goes back to point number 1 about your belief system when it comes to what it is you're manifesting. But if you are someone who's using affirmations to help with your manifestation, understand the purpose of the affirmation. Understand that the purpose is not to eradicate that belief, if that makes sense. So go back to me and my example. I'm like, I am rich. Where's my money? I am wealthy. But where the money at though? And I'm like, but it's not working. But really, what I was doing was creating resistance because I actually wasn't believing the affirmations. And the reason I wasn't believing it, because like I said, you want to understand the purpose of affirmation when it comes to manifesting. Yes, affirmations are in terms of the language, right? Um, Law of attraction tells us to be mindful of how we speak and the language, but you want to go back to the root cause. You want to understand with your belief system. Our belief systems, jokes aside, are so powerful that, like, take me for example. I'm 35 years old. I've had beliefs that were ingrained with me for years. So I'm now in my 35th year in life, and I'm trying to manifest money, and I'm not digging up all the baggage I have when it comes to my thoughts and when it comes to my relationship with money. Of course, I'm not going to believe the affirmations. And because I don't believe the affirmations, I'm going to slow down the manifestation coming into reality because I'm sitting there going, I am wealthy. But it's like, do I really believe I'm wealthy when there is a source or a root cause thought in my subconscious and unconscious that's telling me, no, you're not. So I'm sitting there saying I'm wealthy, but it's the thought is telling me, no, you're not, no, you're not. So understand the purpose of affirmations is not to eradicate whatever negative thoughts you have. You can't just eradicate negative thoughts. To eradicate negative thoughts, I mean, this is a whole other conversation. And be sure to check out the podcast because I do a lot of episodes about self-sabotage, self-doubts, and just in terms of just negative emotions and the healthy relationship you can have with negative emotions. But understand the purpose of affirmations when it comes to manifesting is not to get rid of that thought, to make your manifestation possibility stronger. You actually, before you even start visualizing, before you start meditating, before you start even putting the manifestation out there, you really want to get to the root cause of whatever negative beliefs you have on that aspect of your life. So me and you guys will hear in an episode that will be coming out in January, the first week of January. I talk with Leah Durante about my relationship with money, and we talk about like the role of my nervous system when it comes to, because I told her my emphasis at the moment is on working on my relationship with money. So I think that's a really interesting episode. Look out for that. But the reason I'm sharing that with you is because I understood that before, I used to think like just repeating affirmations over and over again, my brain will believe it. But it's not necessarily so, because like Leah was explaining, your body holds all this history when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to your thought patterns. So you want to identify the root cause of whatever it is that you are trying to manifest for, if that makes sense. So if it's that you're manifesting to be more attractive, chances are there is a negative emotion within you that makes you feel unattractive. So you want to identify the root cause of that and address the root cause, aka, because you're thinking like, what does she mean address the root cause, identify the new root cause? Honestly, one of a basic practical exercise you could do is get a pen, get a paper, sit there and journal and just ask yourself, what are the negative emotions I have? Or actually, don't even say that, because that's leading, and that might get your brain to be like, I don't have any negative emotions. But you just, first question you can ask yourself is, what emotions come up when I think about money? What emotions come up when I think about being broke? What emotions come up and then ask yourself, what did I let me speak. All right, breathe. Guys, I say this, I mean, for those of you on YouTube, FYI, I do very basic editing, so we're gonna go with that, whatever that was. But what I was gonna say is, ask yourself, what are the thoughts that people would say when I was younger when it came to money? What are the phrases I used to hear the adults around me say when it came to money? What did my mom used to say? What did my dad used to say? Whoever your primary caregiver was, start to write down what you remember being said around you when it came to money. If it's money you're trying to manifest, or if it's romantic relationships, whatever it is, just start to write down, because this will start to give you an understanding into your belief system and your mindset, around what the challenge is, and what around what the negative aspect of what it is you're trying to manifest. And this then leads into the final point, which is, like I said, guys, that was me like trying to hold back my breath. I told you, very limited editing. I say limit, I keep saying limited on the audio. I can kind of like slip, cut things, but I know I'm not going to be doing any editing when it comes to YouTube. So, guys, get to know me. Making myself laugh. Coming on to it, I'm very mindful of time because I want to keep these episodes short and sweet. But what I was going to say is the final reason why your manifestations aren't working, and this kind of ties in all of the other points, is self-acceptance. You have to have a level of self-acceptance for your manifestation to work. Because remember, I was just talking about chances are you have a lot of limiting beliefs that you are yet to address. Like, you're talking abundance, and you're sitting there telling yourself, I'm abundant, I am abundant. You're repeating these affirmations about how you're abundant. Meanwhile, you have ingrained inside of you a scarcity mindset. So when it comes to manifestation, and I think this is very relevant for the earlier point I made, where I honestly suggest starting small and taking it slow, because if you jump in too quickly and you start trying to manifest things that feel beyond your, even take me for example, I remember when I first joined, or when I first joined the whole law of attraction movement and manifestation. I remember then, like, I would not have dreamt of even like manifesting a million pounds. Like, it felt so out of reach. So in that moment, like, trying to manifest £1 million, I used to notice like this feeling of dread and this feeling of fear within me, like, oh, like, can I actually manifest a million? Like, I felt really scared, but now I'm like hundreds of millions. When it comes to manifesting, I'm like, I'm bringing in millions and millions and millions and millions. And I think that just goes to show that, like, things have progressed for me in my understanding of the techniques and my application of the techniques. But you want to be very accepting of yourself and where you are, and you want to know it's okay. So if you're now listening to this and thinking, wow, like, I'm not where I thought I should be, because yes, I do feel uncomfortable when it comes to manifesting £1 million, maybe I should drop it back a bit and try and focus on manifesting £100,000 instead of trying to manifest 1 million. But either way, just have that self-acceptance of wherever you are. Understand if you're trying to, I don't know, guys, I keep using HR examples, but it's because you guys know I used to work in HR. But I don't know, let's say you are a technical assistant, like you're an IT technician, and then you're telling yourself you're manifesting becoming the chief technology officer by 12 months' time. Come on, be realistic. Be realistic, but also be self-accepting of where you are, and know that, okay, yeah, this is where I am, this is where I can progress, like that incremental progression in terms of how you manifest. And then, okay, then eventually I know I can get to that point. But if you follow those five, those are five, yeah, I gave you five, so those are five. If you follow those five recommendations, number one, you start to understand now why manifestation wasn't great for you, or maybe that's why you thought manifestation wasn't great, and now you should be able to was going to say fast track. Yeah, definitely fast track your manifestations, but hopefully this will help you make your manifestations more powerful. And until next time, guys, I was just trying to think, can I give you a sneak peek into the next episode? Girl, I would give it to you, but I'm not as planned. I'm not as prepared as. Yes, no, I do know. I was trying to think, like, am I in the past? Am I in the future? Sometimes I batch record too many episodes, and then I'm like trying to figure out like which episode is this one again. But once, yes, I can give you a sneak peek into next week's episode because I know it's going to be the 27th of December. It's going to be a wrap up session. I'm going to almost do kind of like a looking back on season one. Like, can you believe it's the end of season one? That's beyond me. But I do want to wish you a happy holidays for those of you who celebrate Christmas, because I'm not going to get to speak to you again till the 27th. So you would have celebrated the holidays by the time. If you do celebrate Christmas, a Merry Christmas. If you don't, then I just wish you a happy holiday, and I hope you get to spend time with the people you love, and hopefully just get some time for rest as well. Because I know there's so many stressed, overworked people out there. Like I've been catching up with quite a few of my close friends, and bless them, they're all like really stressed with end of year and wrapping up with work at the moment. So I hope you've had some downtime and you've had time with family and friends. And I will catch you in the next episode. Happy holidays.